So, hello, everybody, and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Hey, welcome back here at BSN Arc. This is the BSN Arc podcast here today. It is Wednesday, October 7th. Hope everybody's having a good day so far and had a good rest of their day yesterday. I know I did, and I'm having a good day so far today. Hopefully you are as well. Big day yesterday in sports. The New York Yankees make one of the dumbest mistakes they could have made, one of the dumbest moves they could have made. We'll talk about that coming right up. The Yankees did, in fact, lose last night 7-5, in part of one reason: bad management, bad decision-making, and bad pitching by J.A. Happ. Not much else has to be said there. Why in the world would you put in J.A. Happ when Deivi Garcia is out there? Why in the world would you throw J.A. Happ against what a lot of people think is a World Series contender in the Tampa Bay Rays? Why in the world would you do that? They had Deivi Garcia lined up. Realistically, we all thought that he was going to go 6 innings or something, pitch a day, but the Yankees kept it a secret. They only were going to play him as an opener. Okay, they were going to play him as a starter. He wasn't going to go 6 innings either way, but the fact that you put in J.A. Happ after that is just so ridiculously stupid. Yankees lose due to one reason: bad management, bad decision making, bad pitching by J.A. Happ. They lose. Just ridiculous. I mean, we just threw that game in the way. And the Yankees now have to win tonight because the Yankees shifted all that momentum they had from game 1. They gave it all over to the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Tampa Bay Rays right now have the momentum. Yankees came up in the last inning. Had first and third or whatever. Judge came up with 2 outs, 7-5 game. LeMahieu drove in a run of bat before him, and Judge couldn't get it done. Yankees lose 7-5. Not much else has to be said, but embarrassing and a horrible loss for the New York Yankees. We'll talk about that coming right up. So these are the topics for today. We got the Yankees and the MLB playoffs predictions. We'll talk about the Yankees game yesterday. Obviously, like I just said, horrible. Then we have the predictions for today's games. Then we'll do the Titans shutdown in the NFL. Titans shutdown continues to grow. I have an odd feeling it's going to be like the Marlins and St. Louis Cardinals. It's going to be a long time. You might not see him play within the next 2 weeks. I have an odd feeling. The first outbreak's usually the worst for a league. You look what happened to the MLB. The first outbreak, where the first 2 outbreaks were horrible, and now you get back out there, and then usually the other outbreaks only lasted about 3 days. So hopefully the NFL can get this straightened up. And then we have the Yankees. And my one bright spot from last night, my one thing that I took away from last night, was I was very happy the Rangers did indeed draft Alexis Lafreniere, a great hockey player with the first pick in the NHL draft. We got him last night. I was watching that, and then I turned on the Yankees game after they drafted him. It was just a phenomenal, unbelievable, so amazing, just an amazing, great guy. Very nice, humble, and just excited to get to work for the New York Rangers. The Rangers right now might not be the greatest team in the NHL, and they've shown that. But the Rangers are on the brink of something special within the next few years. The future is very bright for the New York Rangers. We'll talk about all their draft picks last night. They got 2, including a trade. And then they got Alexis Lafreniere, who was obviously they called the NHL draft this year the Alexis Lafreniere sweepstakes. Whoever got the first pick, they were taking Lafreniere. Great hockey player, great guy, coming to a big city in New York, coming to a big name franchise, coming to a great arena, just an all-around kind of just a crazy atmosphere with the New York Rangers. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Congratulations and all that. I just want to say that to Alexis Lafreniere. Great hockey player, just an unbelievable dude. People say he's the next Sidney Crosby, so hopefully that is the truth, because Sidney Crosby can go down as one of the better hockey players of all time. People say he is the next Sidney Crosby. We don't know if that's true, but hopefully that is true, because I would love to have another Sidney Crosby in the NHL, and I would love for him to play for the New York Rangers. So Alexis Lafreniere, young career, gets started yesterday with the first-round pick of the New York Rangers. They took him. Just exciting times for Rangers and fans like me. I'm just very excited. I'm up, but I'm not even worried about us losing in the playoffs anymore. That's in the rear view. I completely don't even worry about that anymore. Now it's focused on next season, which it looks like the first game they're aiming for about January 1st, which should be the first game. So, a couple months from now, and we get to see the Rangers take the ice again, which should be very exciting. So that was one takeaway from last night. I was happy about. And the New York Yankees, which we're going to get into, and right now, this is the BSNR podcast, and let's get right into it. So, last night, the Yankees embarrassed themselves. Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman embarrassed themselves. Right? We went into last night's game up 1-0, and, we had Deivi Garcia take the mound. He let up a home run in the first inning, and then the Yankees decided to put in J.A. Happ, who is our worst pitcher, in our rotation. And you have Deivi Garcia, a young starter, a young stud, a really, really good pitcher who's throwing pretty good. He threw 1 inning. He's pitched 1 inning, and then they put in J.A. Happ. You can't make this up. This was horrible. I was sitting there watching this game, acting like I was watching a Jets game. I could not believe my eyes when J.A. Happ took the mound. It was absolutely ridiculous. A dumb, stupid move. A absolutely just outrageously dumb move. And you made that in the MLB playoffs. Okay, this isn't no regular season. This isn't no third game of the year where you're trying to get players warmed up. This is game 2 of the ALDS against a very good Tampa Bay Rays team. And you're gonna throw in J.A. Happ, who hasn't pitched in 10 days. You're gonna throw him in? Are you kidding me? And now we're tied the series 1-1, and all that momentum we got from Game 1, the Stanton grand slam, the big 9th inning, the 5-run ninth, the win 9-3, showing all the MLB people, all across the MLB that we can beat the Tampa Bay Rays, because we could not do that in the regular season very well, that we showed that we can beat them. And then the next day you go out and throw Deivi Garcia, who was the right move. You only threw 1 inning, 28 pitches, then you bring in J.A. Happ and throw 60 pitches, allow 4 runs, 2 home runs? Are you kidding me? Just absolutely horrible game plan for the New York Yankees. Oh, and now Aaron Boone says, I was trying to confuse the Tampa Bay Rays. Why don't you get that out of your head and just throw Deivi Garcia? Forget about, let me try to confuse Tampa Bay. You're really going to confuse the Tampa Bay Rays with your worst pitcher in the rotation, possibly the worst player on the team, maybe only behind Gary Sanchez. Okay, you're gonna throw your worst pitcher on the team. If you're going to try to trick him, throw somebody else. Don't throw J.A. Happ. Are you kidding me? Out of all the pitchers you have in your bullpen, out of all the pitchers you have on this team, you go with J.A. Happ? Oh, yeah, we're trying to trick him. What stuff did J.A. Happ have that's going to trick the Tampa Bay Rays? What in the world? What stuff's going to... What has he got? Fastball's horrible. Tops out at 93. Oh, yeah, that got cranked for a home run, too. Okay, I am mad that they took out Deivi Garcia, and I'm also very mad that they brung in J.A. Happ. If you're going to take out Deivi Garcia, that's fine. Okay, throw him 1 inning. I don't like that decision either, but I can understand that decision more than putting in J.A. Happ. Here's my deal. The Yankees did this a ton last season. They started Chad Green a ton of games. It's called like an opener or a starter. It's where that player pitches 1 or 2 innings, then you bring in the bullpen. It kind of just goes for a whole bullpen day. It kind of gives your starting rotation an extra day of rest. You kind of just go with a whole day. The Yankees were actually one of the teams to start this. They were one of the only teams to do this. Last year, they kind of started the trend, is where you put in your bullpen pitcher to start off. So the Yankees would throw Chad Green like the first 2 innings of the game. Then they would bring another guy in, and you would just go full-on bullpen game. Now, you wouldn't run the guy's pitch counts up to 60, but you would probably run like a guy for 2 innings and then a guy for 3, That brings you into the 5th. Then you'll get into your mid relievers and closers. Maybe Britton for 1 inning, Canely for 1 inning. This is last year, not now. But then maybe Ottavino for 1 inning, then Chapman for 1 inning. And you could still use them for the next day because maybe Britton only throws like 7, 8 pitches. He only threw 1 inning. You can bring him back out, right? One of those things, right? And but now with the batter where you have to have at least 3 batters minimum you have to face, it does make it a little tricky because sometimes Boone, if you're going for a bullpen day, will bring in Britton for 1 batter and then take him out, and then he'll throw 4 pitches and that's it, right? Now with the 3 thingy, now you have to at least face 3 batters. So if you're coming in a new inning, you have to finish that inning, right? You kind of, right? I think, or you have to at least face 3 batters. So it's one of those things that's a little interesting. So the New York Yankees did in fact choke last night. To say the very least, we choked, right? So Davy Garcia starts off. So here's my whole deal. If you're going to throw Davy Garcia, and see, the Yankees didn't want to leak that out either. This is the whole Yankees plan of tricking the Tampa Bay Rays because you really fooled them. This was the whole Yankees plan. They were going to throw Davy Garcia. Now, none of this stuff was leaked. All right? None of this stuff was leaked. It was all about the Davy Garcia going for, 6, some of us envisioned 5, 6 really crazy start would be 7 innings. I envisioned about 5 2/3, 5 1/3, or even just 5 innings out of him. I was expecting that. I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty good. So, I think 5 innings would have been pretty solid for. Solid 5, 6 innings out of Garcia. So he gets through the first inning. Now, they show J.A. Happ throwing in the bullpen, and even the announcers were like, oh, this, and this, Happ just warming up a little bit. I was like, okay, I didn't get really concerned. If you would have told me Happ would have came in the next inning, I would have absolutely thought you were crazy. Sure enough, J.A. Happ came in the next inning. And that's where this game went from, okay, Stan hit a home run, all right. That's where this game went from tied 1-1, Stan gets a home run, the momentum's kind of back in our favor, 50-50 again, because the momentum was like 70-30 Rays, now it's back to like 50-50 after that Stan home run. Both teams have their amount of momentum, and both teams are, controlling the game pretty well. And then you see J.A. Happ taking them out, and that's when the momentum shifted 90-10. 90% on the Rays, that little 10% was still with the Yankees. I mean, are you kidding me? Then they threw J.A. Happ, and J.A. Happ struggled that inning. And then, this is what makes it even worse, people. The Yankees, this is what makes it even worse. The Yankees then come back up to bat like 2 innings later. It's a 5-1 game. Stanton, or 5-1 game, then what? It was 5, something was 5-3, then 5-4. Stanton comes up. That next inning, they make it, or a couple innings later, it's a 1-run game. Then, this is what's even the worst part. Then you send J.A. Happ back out there. You send Happ back out there. You send J.A. Happ back out there after it's a 1-run game. And that makes things even worse. Why in the world would you send Happ back out there after your team just put up 3 runs and cuts it to a 1-run game? Are you outrageous? Stan has all 4 of those runs. Stan had 4 of the 5 runs last night. 4 RBIs. You send Happ back out there. So the storyline of this Yankees game was J.A. Happ. One of the dumbest moves I've ever seen the Yankees make. And I said this multiple times. The reason we're not getting to the finish line, the reason we're not getting to the World Series, the reason we're not winning games, big games in the ALDS and games like that, the reason we're not doing that is because of one person, and that is Brian Cashman. He has messed up the Yankees pitching rotation. The Yankees pitching used to be unreal. Back when we won that 2009 World Series, bullpen was unreal, pitching was unreal. Now look at our pitching. Garrett Cole, Davy Garcia, who else? Tanaka. Okay, he's good, very good in the postseason, but still has not in the regular seasons met. Who else? Oh, James Paxton, J.A. Happ. All right, James Paxton, nothing. J.A. Happ, nothing. Right? What is this Yankees pitching rotation? It's horrible. It is absolutely horrible. And out of all the pitchers you have in the bullpen, if you're going to throw Garcia for 1 inning, at least put in somebody like a Jordan Montgomery, Jonathan Older. Don't put in J.A. Happ. Oh, yeah, we're trying to trick the Tampa Bay Rays. You did that very well. You really tricked them. And you know what else you did, Boone and Cashman? You really messed up the Yankees and you made them lose. The reason the Yankees lost was 100% on Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. It was 100% on them. It wasn't on anyone else. It was on Happ too, but it was on Happ, Cashman, and Boone. Because Cashman and Boone, the two geniuses, what geniuses would come up with that idea? Oh yeah, let's throw Happ in an ALDS game and really, trick them. Let's really trick the Tampa Bay Rays, because that's going to trick them. That's really going to throw off the Tampa Bay Rays. Did it throw them off? No. Home run, home run, home run. Oh, all of a sudden, Yankees lose 7-5 because of two people in general. Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman. Worst decisions I've ever seen made. These worst decisions I've ever seen made. If this was the World Series, I don't know what it would say. I don't know what I would say. You're lucky this is only the ALDS. And this isn't the World Series Game 7 that he threw J.A. Happ in. You know that J.A. Happ has struggled all year long against good teams too. You know the good starts he's had? They were against the Red Sox. Those teams like that. They had a couple good starts against the Orioles, a couple good starts against the Red Sox. Yeah, you want to know why? Those two teams missed the playoffs and finished below 500. That's why. Tampa Bay Rays are the 1 seed in the AL. You don't throw J.A. Happ. Okay, that is the dumbest decision ever. And Cashman has messed up the Yankees, and he continues to mess them up. Continues to mess them up. So the New York Yankees now sit at a horrible 1-1 record for the series. And why I say horrible is because the momentum's all at the Rays right now. And the Yankees need to get their act together. Because Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman's horrible. And you want to know how Brian Cashman's been hurting us? Let's just say we had the best prospect in baseball. Justice Sheffield. One of the best prospects in baseball. I'm not even kidding. Let's just say we had him. One of the best prospects in baseball. Just the kid was an unreal stud. We trade him to the Seattle Mariners. Guess what we get back? James Paxton. Has James Paxton been good for us? Let me think. No. Has Justice Sheffield been good for the Mariners? Let me think. Yes. Has Paxton done anything with us? No. Has Sheffield done well with the Mariners? Yes. We gave away our number one prospect for an old pitcher, for a pitcher who's not even good, and for a guy who needs to go. It's another thing. You're telling me I still can't believe it. They threw J.A. Happ yesterday. Horrible. So this one is on J.A. Happ, Aaron Boone, and Brian Cashman. And it really goes to show you they really do trust Davy Garcia. It's another thing. The Yankees always rave, and they're always proud. They always say, oh, Yankees, we got a great minor league system, this, and this, Scranton, we got one of the best minor league teams. Every year they're in the play, every year they're doing so well. We got this number one prospect, we got this number one prospect. Guess who the Yankees don't use? Their prospects. We use them for one game, say how good they are, send them back down to the minors, and you never hear from them again. It's the truth. Why in the world would you give up Justice Sheffield for James Paxton? Why in the world would you do that? Now all of a sudden, you take out Davy Garcia and you bring in J.A. Happ. Why in the world would you do that? Why in the world would you do that? You were trying to trick him. Oh my gosh, it's outrageously stupid. If I was Aaron Boone, I would never want to show my face on television again after that dumb move. Brian Cashman and Aaron Boone brains went out the window last night. And in that interview on the field, Lauren Shahadi interviewed Boone between innings. This was the question. Why did you bring in Happ? Oh, I think he can give us great depth. I think he's going to give us a lot of innings and get to the bullpen on the back end. Did he give you that? Let me think for a second. No, he didn't. He didn't. So the Yankees lose for one main reason. Aaron Boone, Brian Cashman, three main reasons. Happ, Cashman, Boone. Dumb decisions, dumb moves, and blew it in big moments in the game. Yankees lose. And just horrible. Horrible. Can't believe that. I couldn't believe it. As a matter of fact, when I was sitting there watching that game and I saw that the Yankees brung in Happ, I actually kind of wanted to see them get crushed. So then could really show you all, because I've been talking about this for months now, that we have to get rid of Happ. So then I could really show you all that they don't want that plan backfired on them. Why in the world would you do that? I kind of want to see that. I remember turning to the person I was sitting with, that I was watching the game with. I said, honestly, if we lose this game, so what? We deserve to lose. If you throw J.A. Happ in the ALDS, you deserve to lose. If you take out Davy Garcia after one inning, bring in Happ, you deserve to lose. I mean, it's just, there's not much else has to be said. You deserve to lose. The Rays deserve to win that game, and the Yankees deserve to lose that game. And the Yankees made a complete embarrassment of yourself. You know, a couple years from now, we'll be looking back at this game. Oh, remember that Yankees-Rays game? Yeah, that game that they brought in J.A. Happ, and Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman should really feel embarrassed. They should really feel embarrassed. And I've said this for so many years now. I don't like Cashman. I don't like his decision-making. He's ruined this pitching staff. And you could always bring out Cole. Okay, outside of Cole, what has he done to this pitching staff? Oh, yeah, let's bring in let's bring in James Paxton. He's going to be a real stud through one no-hitter, and that's it. What has he done with the New York Yankees? Injury. When he's out there, he stinks. Happ, he was solid, going to bring a veteran's presence. Guess what he's done? Nothing, blowing ALDS game. He has ruined his pitching staff. He has ruined this team. And the Yankees, I don't know when they'll get back to the World Series. Because this year, that might not happen if we continue to make dumb moves like this. So the New York Yankees tonight have to. And you can't blame that game on the offense either. They scored 5 runs. It's tough to win. It's tough to win a ball game when your head coach makes a stupid decision like that. It's tough to win a ball game. I mean, you're asking literally to lose the game. You're literally saying, okay, lose this game for us. Happ, go out there and lose the game. You're literally forfeiting the game putting in J.A. Happ. Just absolutely ridiculous. That move last night made the Jets look good. Yankees lose. So now we move on to the other MLB games yesterday. Other teams that made normal moves, normal decisions. Other teams that played well and won. Did not put in their worst pitcher in their rotation just didn't do that. There was definitely yesterday, I'll tell you for sure, there was definitely yesterday some interesting moments in that Marlins Braves game. So that game got interesting. That game got very, 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 very interesting. Yesterday in that game. So this actually, I think yesterday, so I don't know if you remember, but Ronald Acuna Jr. smacked a home run earlier in the game, I'm sorry. First inning, leadoff home run, smacked it. I mean, guys, unreal. He smacked a home run early on in the game. He had a little bit of a bat flip, a little bit of, he was enjoying the home run. And the Marlins, they weren't mad, but the Marlins were winning 4-1. And this actually, I think, messed up the Marlins. Because the Marlins were winning 4-1. And the Marlins were winning 4-1. Right? And things were going well. The Marlins were controlling the tempo. They were hitting free. They were hitting, they were playing well, period. They were playing very well. Alcantara was pitching amazing for the Marlins, had a good break on his off speed, had some good velocity on his fastball, was doing really, really, really well. He was, period. The Marlins were playing well. And then Alcantara, threw at Acuna, and Acuna got him a little fired up. This is the turning point in the game, I actually personally think. And this is what you want to see out of playoff baseball, right? This gets the ratings up. This gets the views up. This gets the crowd hyped. This gets the fans pumped, right? This gets, baseball fans excited. You might not be the best thing you see, but it definitely makes a series go from, fun to very exciting, right? Because, then you all of a sudden start to say, okay, what could happen next game and stuff. So he threw at Acuna. Acuna got a little mad, and from that point on, they outscored the Braves 8-1. After that hit batter, after Acuna got hit, they outscored the Marlins 8-1 and ended up winning the game 9-5. And I'm telling you, that was the turning point in the game. Because the Braves were awful on offense. They were doing absolutely nothing outside of the Acuna home run early on the game, very early, the lead off, the first batter for the Braves. After that home run, they were doing nothing. They were down 4-1 going into the bottom of the third. It was almost nothing was just, they just couldn't do anything. They just weren't able to they just weren't clicking. There was just something about them that just wasn't right. And I remember when I was watching that game, I was like, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong here with this Braves team. Something's not clicking. They need something to give them energy, and sure enough, they did. That hit batter, that same inning, 2-run score. Then in the 7th inning, they had a huge inning that really put the cherry on top. 6 runs in the 7th. That made it a 9-4 game. Then the Brave Marlins added on 1 in the 8th, and then they ended up winning. Braves ended up winning 9-5, 12 hits, 1 error, and the Braves won. And I'm telling you, I am telling you right now, I am saying this right now. That turning point in the game was the Braves hit, right? Because they were sluggish, they weren't doing much. He threw at Acuna, got him fired up, and almost got him woken up. It was almost like they woke up and they're like, all right, you're going to throw at us, we're going to bang in a couple runs, we're going to win this game. And they sure enough did that. They ended up winning 9-5, and they moved to 1-0 in the series. And I'll tell you what, Marlins now might get swept because that was the Marlins game to win. That was the Marlins game to win. They were hitting free. They were doing well on defense. Pitcher was pitching good outside of that one outside of Acuna's leadoff home run. Other than that, he was doing insane. Good pitches, was hitting the zone and stuff. And then all of a sudden, you hit Acuna, and that was just bad. It was just bad. And from there on, the Braves owned the game. Like I said, after that hit batter, 8-1, the Braves outscored. So let's just say he hit the batter let's just say. Forget about the first 2 innings. Forget about the first 3 innings, right? Forget about it. Let's just say we started the game after Acuna got hit. The Braves would have won 8-1. So the Braves dominated that game after those first couple of innings. And the Marlins, too, that was their game to steal. They're up 4-1. You got to feel pretty confident with how your pitcher's doing, with how your hitting is. You got to feel pretty confident. You're hitting the Braves' ace. They're not hitting you. You feel pretty confident. You throw at Acuna, and there goes your game. Out the window. Crumbles up the game and just chucks it out the window, right? And you can forget about it. So the Marlins have to win today. And that it's almost a must-win today. Because you lose today, there's no way the Marlins are winning 3 straight tonight. Today is a must-win for the Marlins. Do I think they will win? Probably not. But today is a must-win for the Marlins. There's just no way there's just I'm sorry to the Marlins fans. There's just no way. There's just absolutely no way you win 3 straight. I just don't foresee it happening. Too much pitching, just too much hitting. Just too much hitting for the Braves to try to win 3 straight. You have to win today. And yesterday, that was their game to steal. They steal that game. You're up 1-0 in the series. You're going in today possibly saying, oh, if we take 2 from them, that's all the pressure's on the Braves. They could not do that yesterday. So that was another frustrating thing for the Marlins. If I was a Marlins fan, I'd be very frustrated about that too. Yankees obviously lost 7-5. Already reviewed that. Dodgers Padres. This was a fun. This was an interesting game. Dodgers. I was expecting this game to be pretty high scoring. I was expecting it to be 7-5, 8-6. I know there were 2 very good pitchers out there on the mound, but with how good these offenses are, Mookie Betts, Cody Bellinger, Turner, how good these 2 offenses are, I was expecting, Tatis Jr., Machado, who has played pretty well this season, Pham, Hosmer, Will Myers, how these 2 offenses were, I was expecting this game to be a pretty big scoring, high scoring game, but that was not the case. The Padres, out of all teams, scored 1 run. It was crazy. The Padres. If you would have told me the Padres were going to score 1 run yesterday, I wouldn't have thought you were crazy because they are playing against Walker Buehler and a very good pitcher and a very good team in the Dodgers. But I would have thought they would at least put up 3 on the board, and they did not do that. Padres' offense was quiet yesterday, and that's what the Dodgers have to do. They found the Padres' weakness. The Padres had 3 hits yesterday. That's what the Dodgers have to do. Right? The Dodgers have to. Have to. Stop them on offense, and you'll get your runs. Like I said, Padres, they stopped them on offense, and then they scored 5 runs. They only had 4 hits, but the Padres pitching I don't think is good enough, really. Clevenger left early on in the game. The Padres pitching I don't think is good enough to hold this Dodgers defense. So the Dodgers have to hold the Padres on pitching-wise, and then go out there and smack the ball on offense. That's the key to win. And they did that yesterday. Did they smack the ball? No. They hit well. They got a couple good runs. They had a big 6th inning with 4 runs that really capped and blew the top off the game and really won it for them. But you still have to make sure, that was, that was something big. That was something big. So the Dodgers with a big win there. Now we move on to the Astros and the A's. Astros won yesterday 5-2. A's could be the first team to get eliminated. They lost yesterday. A's pitching just can't. Their hitting and their pitching just can't seem to click. First game they struggled. Second game they struggled. Their hitting wasn't great yesterday, but the first game, they put up 5 runs. Pretty easy to win when your offense puts up 5 runs. They could not do that. I hate to say it, but I think the Astros win the series now. I do. I hate to say it, but I hate to say it. I hate the Astros. They're my least favorite team in all the MLB. I just hate them. Cheated for a World Series. Just hate them. Still disagree that I just still don't agree with a lot of stuff that happened with them in the suspensions, and just don't disagree. I disagree big time of how the MLB handled the sign stealing scandal. I just don't like it. I just don't like the Astros, but sadly, I think they took control of this series, and I think the Astros are moving on. And I think the A's are on the brink of losing, I think is what it is. Just at the end of the day, now at the end of the day, I talk so much about the A's clutch hitting. They haven't been able to get that clutch hit yet this series. They just haven't been able to. They haven't been able to get that big hit late in a game like they were in the regular season. They were getting big hits late in games, 8th, 9th inning. The A's have not been able to do that. They have not had the chances. They have not had the opportunities to get that late hit late in the game. And I was expecting that to happen because I was expecting this to be a relatively close series, but it hasn't been that way. The A's have been jumping on the Astros early. 1 run, then the first game they were up 3-1. They just can't finish it off. Get to that 4th, 5th inning, Astros start to pour on runs, and the A's just can't keep up. So the A's lose again, 5-2. So now we move on to today's game. Yankees-Rays play again. We have the Marlins-Braves. Marlins, Braves. This game's going to be interesting. If I was the Braves, if I was the Marlins and the Braves, you got to just forget about what happened yesterday and just focus on today. Even though they won, I'm just saying with the whole Acuna situation, there was a lot of stuff at the end of the Twitter thing. These two teams have to erase that and focus on today. You don't want suspensions. You don't want problems. You don't want that stuff. That's the last thing you need. Is possibly one of the best young players in the MLB to get suspended in Acuna Jr. and miss a couple of games. That's the last thing you want. It's the last thing you want is a bench brawl, right? You got to just focus on this game. These two teams, I think the Braves win. I think the Braves win pretty easily. I just think at this point the Marlins just lost their pitching. I think the Braves win. The Braves win, but they have to win clean. You can't win the game fighting, bench brawl. Go out there and just play. Don't go out there and try to, don't go out, just go out there and play. That's all I'm trying to ask. You just don't want to see that. And as a Braves fan too, you might be fired up and hoping that Acuna jacks a home run and stares down the pitcher. You don't want that. It was kind of funny seeing the whole Twitter beef last night, or, Acuna sending out a tweet about, I would like to apologize to absolutely nobody. It was a little funny, but now it's game time. Now you just have to focus, and the Braves just have to go out there. And a young player in Acuna might let the emotions take over, but I do think he's smart enough not to. I think they just have to go out there and just play their game. I do think the Braves win. Next up, we got the Astros and the A's. Like I said, I hate saying this. I just don't know if the Oakland's going to be able to win this game. I think the Astros win. I hate saying it. I don't want them to win. I hope I'm wrong. The A's just have looked flat on offense. They've looked flat pitching. They've been able to get runs early in the game, but they haven't been able to get runs late in the game when it counts most. And I'm very surprised by that, because the A's did that all regular season. They haven't been able to do that this season, or this postseason. So the A's have their backs against the wall today, but they're going to need to find a way to get a big win. They're going to need to win 3 straight, period. They can't lose another game this season. They have to win 3 straight somehow. So hopefully they will, because I hate the Astros, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I think the Astros do win. Next up we have the Padres and the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers win. The pitcher for the Padres has not yet been announced. I do think the Padres win, or the Dodgers win, sorry. Even though Kershaw's on the mound, a lot of players tend to, out of the middle of nowhere, tend to hit Kershaw in the postseason. I do think the Dodgers win this game. Padres offense looked scary bad yesterday. Scary bad. Hopefully that's not a continuing theme for the Padres, just because of how much talent they have. But their offense looked scary bad yesterday. They only 3 hits for Acuna, who sometimes, or for players like Tatis Jr., who sometimes puts up 4 hits himself in a game. They only had 3 hits as a team. That offense looked scary bad yesterday, and they're going up against Kershaw. I do think the Dodgers take command early in this game. And then the Yankees play today as well. The Yankees tonight, It's going to be one of those games where Yankees win with good decision making. Yankees don't win with putting in J.A. Happ on the mound. I mean, there's just no other way of saying it. Yankees ain't going to win if you put in J.A. Happ. Yankees ain't going to be able to win if you put in Happ. Tanaka's on the mound. Hopefully the Yankees win. Let's just say they do win. 4-2. Tanaka or 6-4. 6-5 actually. I think it's gonna be a close game. 6-5 Yanks win, I think. Although deep down inside I don't believe we're gonna win, but I'm gonna predict we win. Just because I have that slimmer of hope that Tanaka could turn into Tanaka we've seen and love to see in the playoffs. And if you wonder why I'm just angry now, because I still can't get over last night. I mean, it's just you can't make that up. I mean, you literally put in J.A. Happ in the ALDS. I mean, you blew a game. You blew a game. You blew a game that you won't get back. So, Yankees have to somehow find a way tonight to get a win, because if we lose tonight, tomorrow, I could just imagine we ain't winning. So, I'll be sitting there watching tonight's game, hoping that the Yankees somehow pull something off, because what we've seen out of the Yankees the past couple, what we seen out of the Yankees yesterday is not what you want to see. So, what you saw out of the Yankees GM and coach is not what you want to see. So, Yankees better get their act straight, or else they're not going to win tonight's game either. Charlie Moore and Tanaka are on the mound. 6-5 Yankees win. Take the over on the over-under 9, I guess. Yeah, so that's what I kind of got on the whole Yankee situation. So I'm just getting up my the Titans shutdown situation. Coming up next, we got the Titans shutdown. Coming up next. Alrighty, so we got some, 1 second. By the way, the Redskins, my bad, did in fact bench their quarterback. They bench Dwayne Haskins, bring in Kyle Allen, which means, and this is what I'm actually most kind of excited to see and thrilled about out of this whole situation, is that Alex Smith is now a backup. So, he is now a backup to Kyle Allen, and it looks like Dwayne Haskins is going to be the third string now. So that's going to be quite interesting to see what happens with him. I'm obviously very, 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 very interested to see if Smith plays. Not that I'm wishing bad on Allen, but I kind of want to see Smith play. Not that I'm hoping that Allen gets injured. You never like to see Kyle Allen or anybody in general get injured. But, maybe if there's a chance, I kind of want to see maybe if there's any chance of possibly like the Redskins, if they're getting blown out one game, I want to see Alex Smith play again. Like, that should be so cool. I think that would be really cool. I want to really see that. I think that would be awesome for NFL in general. I think just to show the story, just to show what he's been through, just to show everything he's been through, to see him possibly be back out there on the field would be great. I mean, it would be almost like the unthinkable. To come back out there on the field it's just something. It's almost like he should make the Hall of Fame for that. Like, it's just unbelievable. And we don't know if he'll ever be the same quarterback. He might be a backup the rest of his career, but it's just one of those things where it's just hope that he does do well. Just hope that he does do well. So, let me just get this up here. right, so Titans. Let's see. So the NFL. Titans. All right, so 2 more Titans test positive for corona, for the virus. 2 more of them test positive. You know how I am with this. I am very angry. I'm not very happy that hopefully these players do get well soon and can get back out on the playing field. But the reason I'm unhappy is I want to see the season go as smoothly as I can. Sorry about this. I have to get this up here. Here we go. Perfect. All right. Sorry about that. I had to get my thing up. So, yeah. So, 2 new Titans test positive for, obviously, if you don't know by now. I don't know. If you don't know by now, you've literally been sleeping under a rock. Report 2 more Titans test positive for COVID-19. Sunday's game in jeopardy. So, Sunday's Titans-Bills game is now in jeopardy. So, which means the Titans now... And this is where it gets interesting, because the Titans last week, right, they test positive. Okay, you use it as a bye week. So that's the Titans bye week. So for the rest of the season, they'll just play, that was week 3. That's a bye. Last week, week 4, they play, 12, 13 straight games? 12 games. 12 straight games. So 13 more games Titans have to play then. So they'll play 13 straight games. If they're 3-0 right now, they had a bye week last week, they'll play 13 straight games. Okay, nothing horrible. You test positive. It's bad to have a positive test in anything, just for a regular human being or for an athlete like the Titans. It's bad. And I had an odd feeling, and I didn't want this to happen, but I had an odd feeling this was going to happen with the NFL, with players getting the virus. Not getting the virus, meaning like the first outbreak, I had a feeling this was going to happen. The same thing happened in the MLB. You saw it happen in the MLB. The first outbreak, the Marlins and the Cardinals, they were both off for a long time. They missed many games. And the Titans now might be off for what seems, because they still haven't practiced yet and it's already Wednesday, could be off for 2 weeks, which is 2 games, which is a lot. And now they have to find a way to get those games back and reschedule those games. So the 2 more Titans test positive. They are still I don't think their facilities have opened since the positive test. And also, Patriots cancel practice. So the Patriots, not sure who they play this week, but their practice gets canceled. And now, I don't know if you heard of this. So the MLB's got a lot of crazy, or the NFL's got a lot of crazy things going on. So the Titans have an outbreak. Patriots hopefully are not growing, but there's another positive test on the Patriots. Slowly, the Patriots are getting positive tests. They canceled practice. The Chargers-Saints game had to get moved to a different location because of an incoming hurricane that I heard, Hurricane Delta. It's supposed to be very, very bad. So I heard about that. Now their game got canceled. So now the Saints home, since it's hitting, I think, Louisiana. The Saints, obviously New Orleans, Louisiana. The Saints now, they got moved, I think, to Indianapolis to play for a neutral site, I'm pretty sure. So now they're changing. There was another game too. So the NFL right now this has been a packed 2 days since week 4 ended. Yeah, yesterday and then today, and week 5 is gonna start tomorrow, and you have no clue. The Patriots might not play, and the Titans might not play. So the NFL's got a lot on their plate to handle and figure out. And the NFL has been very strict on the rules. They have said they fined coaches, they fined people. They have fined many people already. Coaches that for not wearing their mask. Now there was a new rule that came out that if they don't wear their mask, if they don't follow the policies, there's a possibility of them not of them having to possibly forfeit a game. So if they don't follow the rules, if they don't do that, they might have to forfeit a game. For example, if you have an outbreak maybe, or if people aren't following the rules and it affects an outbreak, you could forfeit a game. Instead of that game being canceled and rescheduled, you might just have to forfeit and not play if the players are being irresponsible and got the virus due to the irresponsible. So they did an investigation. You're always going to do an investigation on any outbreak. They did an investigation. The Titans that started this outbreak, they went to a workout that was not that was not very organized. They went to an unorganized workout, an un-team workout. It was just a couple of players that went to a random gym or whatever, and they picked up the virus, and they brought it back, and now they have the whole NFL affected. And this is what I said. I'd never like to see an outbreak, not just because of the whole how bad not just because you never like to see anybody get the virus or anything, but also because of how much it affects the NFL. Right, the Titans get the outbreak. Okay, all right. Titans get the outbreak. Now look who that has affected. That has now affected the Patriots, or not the Patriots. That has now affected. It affected the Vikings. The Vikings did not cancel their game. They ended up playing. They had no positive tests, but that then affected the Vikings. So the Vikings had to all do a daily rapid testing. That then affected the Steelers, who now have to play a different team, who had a bye week, so it affects the Steelers. Now it also affects the bye week, so now it affects the Steelers. Then it affects now the Bills, who then technically, the Titans affect the Bills, who then technically the Bills can actually, no, not really. So now it affects them, so it all comes full circle. Same thing with the Patriots situation now. The Patriots situation, now that they have another positive test, can technically affect the Chiefs. That can technically affect the Bills, because that's their next, after this upcoming week's game, then the next up is the Bills. That affects their next opponent, and then so on and so forth. That affects the Raiders. Then the Raiders affects whoever else they're playing. Then the Bills. Then it affects the Bills, and the Bills. Telling you, one breakout affects almost every single team across the league. It affects the Bills, who now affect the division because now they have one less game. It affects the Bills' standings. It affects the Bills, right? Period. Now it affects the Bills' season because now the Bills might have a 2-day bye week and have to get ready to play up against the Chiefs on a 2-day bye week. So, because the Bills right now are practicing in hope that they play, but it doesn't look that way. So now this affects the whole MLB, because the NFL, because now this is going to affect Titans game, that's going to affect whenever they play the Bills next, that could affect another team, and so on and so forth. This is affecting a lot. This isn't just affecting the Steelers, the Bills, and the Titans. This is affecting a lot more than that. Affected the Vikings, affected the Steelers, affected the team that's going to play the Steelers, because now the Steelers are having to play that team, who the Steelers also had iffy practices because they had no clue what's going to happen. Now it could affect the Chiefs because the Bills, now it could affect the Bills, and then it could actually affect the Chiefs because the Chiefs could very well play a very unorganized, odd Bills team, because the Bills had a 2-day bye week, come back, and now they got a game. They're game planning for Tennessee this week, and now they have a 2-day bye week, and all of a sudden didn't play a game. Now you got a game plan for the Chiefs. So it affects a lot. It affects a lot more than just one team. So it does stink that this is happening. Both positive, the two newest positive tests are the 2 players. So that's not good or bad. That's not good news. It doesn't matter if it's a player or a staff member or anything, or a coach. It is a positive test, which does affect the team. So 2 more Tennessee Titans players have tested positive for COVID-19, according to the NFL Network's Tom Persillo. The positive test reportedly came from Tuesday's round of testing, and the team received the results on Wednesday. Both Titans players both Titans positives are players per source. Their facility were not reopened. The Titans have 2 positive tests per source. This is a setback for the Titans, the first NFL team to deal with a serious outbreak. After more than a full week of having at least 1 reported positive test per day, they've received no positive test on Monday and Tuesday. If the positive test on Sunday had become the last ones, they could have opened up their facility on Wednesday, return to practice, and play their Week 5 game. Now they're right back where they were last week, and looking at a second straight week of disruption. Game versus Bills could be in jeopardy, with the Titans having 2 more reported positives on Wednesday. The reopening of their facility is almost certainly on hold. If their facility remains closed and practices continue to be suspended, it's hard to see how they'll be able to play the Buffalo Bills on Sunday at the Titans Nissan Stadium, no less. It's possible that the game will need to be rescheduled. The Titans have already had 1 game rescheduled due to their team outbreak. Their Week 4 game against the Pittsburgh Steelers was postponed and moved to Week 7. When hopefully the team will be clear of this outbreak, the NFL was able to manage that emergency schedule switch. But with a quarter of the season already over, it's going to get harder for the NFL to make easy swaps. They're already in hot water with the Bills-Titans matchup because of the Bills' future schedule. Exactly. The Titans are in a difficult position for many reasons. The Bills play next Thursday night against the Chiefs. Moving Bills-Titans game to Monday seems impossible. With this schedule canceling for forfeiting may be the only options. This is from Diana Rossini. This is the truth. I just said that on the podcast. If this becomes too much of a scheduling conflict, teams might have to forfeit. Because you can't possibly, if you miss 4 games and there's only 10 weeks left of the season, where are you going to fit in those 4 games? So, you might see your first forfeit. I'm not even kidding. The NFL is uncharted territory, and it's not going to get any easier from here. Where Titans players working out together. Pelissero reported on Wednesday that the NFL and NFLPA are looking into whether Titans players violated the COVID-19 protocols by working out together while the team facility was closed. The NFL and NFLPA are looking into whether the Titans players have been working out together off-site while the facility was closed due to their COVID-19 outbreak, per sources. 2 more players learned of the positive tests today, bringing the total to 20 cases among players and staffs. The NFL and NFLPA were already reportedly investigating Titans last week, determining whether or not their team outbreak was caused by ignoring the protocols. The NFL announced on Monday that the teams will have to forfeit a game if they're unable to play due to a COVID-19 outbreak caused by breaking protocol. So. And you see how it's like that's a problem. Because now you could have, let's just say the Titans gave it over to the Vikings. Now that affects the Vikings. Luckily that didn't happen, but see, it gets, things get interesting. One team could affect 5 different teams. So, they have another outbreak. So, this is bad. This isn't good. You don't want to see this happen. In the NFL, I said it all along. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, they were booming, doing well. There was 1 positive test, but didn't affect anything. And now, boom, outbreak on the Titans. Boom, 2 positive tests on the Patriots. Boom, practice squad guy and the Chiefs got tested positive. Now, all of a sudden, it's like boom, 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 boom. You got all these positive tests popping up from the middle of nowhere. So, the NFL's got to get this straight. And I knew this was coming. You knew that this was outbreak. You knew that if there was an outbreak, the first one would be the worst because you're kind of you don't know how your protocols are going to be. This is kind of the test. Now you realize, okay, we got to make better decisions. And if this is in fact on the players, then they might have to forfeit this game, and the Bills will get a win. So, Titans players had to work out. A group of Titans were photographed at a local high school practicing together after NFL shutdown facility. So, very interesting. So now all of a sudden there's a report that just came out that the rumors that the NFL could pause the season. See? 1 team could affect all teams. So, things are very, 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 very interesting. Now that obviously you have, things are definitely getting interesting with the Titans. So hopefully they can get their act together because I want to watch football. Especially with the MLB season ending soon, you're in November, and if the season's on pause, what do you got to watch? There we go again. We're going to go through another spell where you got nothing to watch because everything else is going to be done. So, hopefully the NFL can get this straight. Next up, we got the Rangers and Alex Lafreniere. So, alrighty. So, the New York Rangers have drafted Alexis Lafreniere. Um, it is just very exciting for Rangers fans and me, obviously, in general, because I am a big Rangers fan of myself. The Rangers did, in fact, draft Alexis Lafreniere, the first overall pick in the draft. We got him. Some high praise for this kid. I'll tell you that for sure. There's definitely some high praise for this kid. A lot of people think, you've had some comparisons of him to Sidney Crosby. He's the only player in the history to win back-to-back Player of the Year in CHL, kind of junior championship leagues, where to win back-to-back Player of the Year. The last player to do that was Sidney Crosby. Plays a lot like Sidney Crosby, scores a lot of goals like Sidney Crosby, has a lot of moves like Sidney Crosby, reminds a lot of people of Sidney Crosby. A lot of people say he could be the next Sidney Crosby, and I am telling you what, if he's the next Sidney Crosby, that means he's probably a Hall of Famer, because Sidney Crosby is going to go down as one of the better hockey players of all time. So, very exciting for Rangers. I'm excited. When I saw this pick come through, I knew it. We kind of knew this since we heard the Rangers were going to get the pick. Since we heard the Rangers were going to get their first pick in the draft, we kind of just been waiting for the draft to happen. We kind of knew all along we were going to get Alexis Lafreniere, and it was a surreal moment to hear the Rangers GM announce that he was going to be a New York Ranger. I was very, very excited. I think he's going to be a great player. Welcome to Broadway. Just a big name team. A big name team and a big name, sports city. You have a bunch of New York teams. You have the Yankees, the Jets, the Giants, the Islanders, the Knicks, the Nets. You have a bunch of big name teams in a big city, and I think the spotlight's very bright for him. But I think if anybody, he can handle that bright spotlight. Spotlight's gonna be bright for him. Him and Kaapo Kakko are gonna be the two youngsters of this team. They're gonna be the two guys that are going to have to, they are the building pieces of the future. We have Artemi Panarin, Kaapo Kakko, now Alexis Lafreniere, Igor Shesterkin, now, you have Igor Shesterkin, Chris Kreider, Brandon Lemieux, Mika Zibanejad. You got a lot of good guys on this team. You got a lot of talent on this team. It's going to be very, very exciting to see where this team goes. I'm not saying Stanley Cup this year, but 3-4 years from now, the future is very bright for this team. You get another top 5, top 10 pick. You get another lottery pick. You get next 2 years another 2 lottery picks. Those are 2 probably stars. You're talking 30 years from now, they could be a contender. This is a team that has a very, very bright future. They are going through a little bit of a rebuild right now because, they are building for the future. But this is a team that has a very, very bright future, and they just picked up a player that has a very, very bright future in Alexis Lafreniere, and I'm very excited. I'm happy that he is a New York Ranger. I'm very excited he's a New York Ranger. I think he's going to have an excellent career with us. I think he's going to be great. I think him, Kaapo Kakko, obviously he's a left wing. I think him, Kaapo Kakko, Kreider, Artemi Panarin are going to fit well together, mesh together well. And I do think the Rangers are going to have... I do think the Rangers are obviously in a good position right now. So, very exciting to see that he got drafted. And as for the Yankees, they play tonight, 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I gave you my pick earlier, 6-5. Let's just say Yankees win. 6-5. Should be a good game. As long as Boone Cashman don't throw their brains out of Petco Park, I think we should win this game. So, with all that being said, that's what I got for the BSN podcast. Congratulations to Alexis Lafreniere for being the first pick in the NHL draft and going through the New York Rangers. Very, very, very excited to watch him play. Very, very, very excited to watch the Rangers get back out on the ice. Gary Bettman said yesterday in the draft, he said that they are targeting a January 1st start date, which means preseason would probably start in December. So we're going to get hockey in December, pretty much. Preseason. Preseason games you'll get December, which preseason games is preseason football, pretty much. The backups, the guys that, are kind of just, might not be starters. They'll play a little bit, the backup goalies and stuff. And then, the youngsters, like Alex Lafreniere will probably get time because he's a rookie and stuff. You'll have, obviously, the preseason, and then you'll obviously have the regular season. They said are targeting a January 1st start date. So, hockey is, it's October, not right around the corner, but, each day gets closer to the hockey season. So very exciting. I'm excited to watch Alexis Lafreniere play for the New York Rangers. He's going to have a great career. Excited to watch him. Got a bright future, and like I said multiple times already, excited to watch him. So excited to watch the Yankees as well tonight. Yankees 7:10 p.m. Standard Time. Another game. We got to win this. Winner of this game, I think, wins the series. So, big game for the Yankees tonight. Go Yankees. And hopefully we could, pull out a win unlike last night. So, yeah. So that's what I got for the podcast today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I will see you all back here tomorrow. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.